Alright, we're back and we've brought our boy Reggie with us this time. Kitted out in some new GST swag as well. What you saying?
Fucking painting.
So yeah, got Reggie with us. We've got a bunch of questions to ask him and a few topics to talk about. But I guess first things first, we're about 4 weeks away from semis, 4 weeks past quarterfinals roughly.
Yeah.
How's things going? How's training?
Yeah, it's good. After quarters, when I just needed that week off of just total chilled and seeing my mates and fucking that release of just not thinking about CrossFit or not like that. So I was rough on that Monday. Like I didn't expect to be that low after that.
Yeah.
Find out you banged it, and then in a good place to train at the minute, and excited to show it off again in a few weeks.
We're so what are we now? We are 10 days into when you've fully moved back to Wigan.
Yeah.
And we've got a group of, so there's yourself, there's Taylor, Martha, Anita, Ella is here, and we've had visits with Phil Roy's here today, Georgia. How's it been getting involved? Because we always had like a little bit of a team in a group, but now we've got like quite a big team. How's that affecting, or how's it helping your training? It's probably a better way.
Yeah, it's like you've got other people to bounce off, and there's always going to be someone better than you at everything when you're training, so it's always someone to drag you up no matter what we're doing, like chasing Ella and Taylor on the fucking hands and that, and then you overhead squat, Jack with his little deadlift. There's always someone like to give you that push, do you know what I mean? When you're not feeling that session, you just need someone to perk you up a bit. And just like this environment what we've got in the gym at the minute is just class. Like it's perfect size, like the people around you, like the buzz off it as well, and it's just decent to be around, like makes training easier.
Yeah, so that's what I think we said it one of the previous recordings that we did, is just that it doesn't enter your brain of like, oh, I can't be asked for this like doing the training session. You might have like, oh, I'm tired for it, but the simple fact that there's 5-6 others coaches going to be there, it's like you don't have that thought. It becomes more into just like, right, well, what am I going to how am I going to do this? How am I going to like go through the training session rather than like contemplating potentially just kind of like sacking it off?
Yeah, like we've done them sprints, when we finished on them sprints yesterday, like none of us really wanted to do it. But because anyone was saying it, we're like, well, we're definitely doing it, aren't we? And then when everyone got the backups, he was like, right, sub 30 rounds, so we're doing the sub 30 rounds, and then it was like, well, fuck the rest off, and we're just going every 3 minutes, and I absolutely buckled myself. But like, that's the difference you need when you're surrounded by that environment, and you lads that like, it would have been easier just being like, oh, we've done enough today, do you know what I mean?
Like you say, as a group, when there's, you know, a good group that's all got pretty high energy really, you know, if you're flagging, someone else picks you up, it's awesome, because you don't have a chance to like have that, you know, that down point while you're training, and I feel like you've all adapted to that pretty quick already.
I feel with like Nettie's noticed it straight away when she came in one of our first sessions when she was watching us. It was that devil press and the bar muscle workout. And like, because we're used to it now, and we're just like, it's just another training session, and we're just sending it, and we're just used to that environment. She was in awe of like how hard we were going, and she was like, it got her fired up. She was saying it got her fired up for her semis, her age online qualifiers, and she was like, I swear to God, that was the session that just like brought back the fire for me. And I was just like,
she didn't even do the session.
Nah, she didn't. She just sat and watched. She was like video it. She was buzzing off it. Like, and we like probably we're not taking it for granted. We're just more used to it than anything. So when other people come involved and they bounce off it again, like Phil Roy's came down and he's like got amongst it straight away. Like he's come down again this weekend. Do you know what I mean? It's a good environment to be around, and it's only going to level you up.
It's what we said. So we had like a bit of a team meeting, didn't we, when everyone got together on one of the first few days, and it's the environment becomes contagious, and it can go either way. It can either go contagious and be really kind of like, if someone says something negative, then that can kind of like snowball into like negative thoughts for the rest of them. But if something like that workout, for example, by you three just like absolutely sending it from the beginning, the snowball effect that's had to Nettie, who's then gone into, like, she's taken that and that's carried her through into the masters qualifiers. She's then placed second in the world. We've watched her come second in the world, and then that snowballed onto our training sessions.
Just sets the tone, like sets it up for the season, and she was like on about, she doesn't really like sending it, and she finds it hard. She likes not being in a comfort zone, but like controlled in a comfort zone, she was saying. So obviously when you're around fucking me who likes to zen it from the off, things are going to change. Like, but she was on about that Rome workout. She was like, that was her favourite one because she went all in on it. And the clean one, she said, even though the clean one didn't go to plan,
pace was off a bit, yeah.
She would have never went all in on them cleans the way she did, and then to attack the double unders. But like we were just saying, it was just another training day, innit? Like, until it comes to the final game day where everything needs to be dialed in, your tactics and everything like that. Like
the warm up,
everything up to it is just training. Do you know what I mean? So like I think there's a time and a place for learning how to get fast times rather than getting the stimulus out of it. Like we did the toes the bar workout the
Wednesday.
Yeah. And like I feel like I need to learn that more than get fit. Like I can dig it, I can put myself in a hole, but when it comes to learning the fast time, like it showed a few times now where in the open when we've done the dumbbell snatch repeat, like you're gonna get better.
And even the 21.3 as well. Like you want to go fast from the
you take the pace off it, and it was sounds mad. You take 40 seconds off a workout where it's hard to find, and it actually felt easier. Afterwards, I was still fucked, but like it wasn't as bad as the first time round because you're just chasing your tail from the off, and I feel like that's a skill, and we're picking up all like the fine details now. As in, like I remember you telling me about David and Emma when they were training, and he was on about making his training session harder than say the whiteboard workout. People will go to Acton to have everything around in there nice and tight, so they're going to get the faster time there. Whereas David would be like, you'd set it up as a competition for, so it would be like longer transitions, or the box might be say be wider. And I was like, that's the skill. What adds up, like getting the fastest time on the whiteboard workout just to have an ego about it isn't going to get you good for competition. Do you know what I mean? Anyone can put that time in, but whereas you train the little small skills like running to the bar, picking up, like it threw me off when we were doing the quarters and you had to run over the bar, pick the snatch up. I was fucking doing a 3-point turn down the bar, and I was like, here. And then like now you adapt quite quick to it if you do it quite regular, and it just becomes like second nature, and you don't even know you're doing it. So when it comes to competition, it's just like boom boom.
I think while we're on the subject with David there and what you were saying before about learning how to pace a workout and kind of like slow it down from the beginning, I remember something that I've spoke to with David on the phone before is he always says that the easiest decision for an athlete to make is the hardest decision, because then they feel like they've had no regrets that they've not done enough or gone fast enough. So sometimes the easiest decision to make is to send a workout from the beginning. But it's not the best decision to make, because if you feel like I've tried at full effort from the very beginning, like that's my full effort for the workout, but it might still be your full effort for that workout, but it's not the best result that you can give yourself from the workout.
I totally agree. I feel like that's where I'm still learning. Like now, I remember you saying before we done that regional event on Wednesday, you like pace it off in the first round, and I was like, I'm not fucking pacing this 25 calorie rounds, ending it. But like backing yourself, knowing that you've got something left in the tank, rather than getting there and be like, you'd be gutted if you try to turn it on at the end and it wasn't enough to get that time. Whereas I do like coming out the blocks and like getting a good lead, and then I'm getting better a bit down, a bit back now, and then just like holding onto it and finish strong as well. But like it's skillful. That's why I would love to train with David and like pick up, like if we do a camp together, just like how professional he is inside and outside the gym. It'd be good to learn off. Like definitely.
I feel like as a skill since the Open, that's like the thing that you've kind of picked up on the most. Like before the Open, it was kind of like just realising the potential and gaining the confidence, and I feel like, you know, the potential's there. It's that skill of, like you've just been saying then, that like there's you can go out the blocks and try and go as fast as you can from the start, which isn't necessarily the smartest one. It might be like the way that you feel like you try the hardest, but there's also like the smartest way, like we said the other day.
So it's like every Friday when the workouts got released, like no matter what we were trying to say to Reggie was like, Friday's day is Reggie's day, Reggie's second Friday's day. And then when it come to Monday, Reggie was buckled and like, right, this is what Reggie's got to do. And we just dialed it in, like just tapping into your full potential. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what your potential is, but like trying to tap into it and reach it. It was like,
I think it's worth saying as well, when we were going back to what we were saying about the dumbbell devil's press and bar muscle workout, like sending training, like how hard you're going and how often currently. I don't want people to think, oh, well, that's what I need to do. Cause if we take Martha, Ella, and Nettie, for example, who are all three like top athletes. Nettie, having had a couple of years, just kind of like chilled. Obviously, she was like at regionals level, 2016 to 18, but then she had a couple of years. Martha's still relatively new to competing. So her training age in terms of CrossFit is younger than yours and Taylor's. And Ella's also, although she has done CrossFit for quite a while.
She's young.
She's young, but she also has like a slightly different angle and she needs to go up to improve her strength. The reason why you and Taylor are able to hit the intensity and volume that we're currently doing is coming off the back of the work that's been done and progressively increased the volume intensity that you've been able to do over the last kind of 6 to 12 months, especially for you having then kind of knocked your labouring job on the head from January. You wouldn't be able to then go into January and do this training.
No.
Like a couple of weeks in, you've been tapping out. So it's been like a process from there to get to this point where you can.
Yeah, but like my body's did that now, do it, and like it's thinking, fucking hell, he doesn't have to go to graft here, so we'll just buckle him in the gym.
No, it's true. But then you can like you know, Nettie's and Taylor's also helps you with nutrition as well, but put that time into eating properly so you can then train longer and harder. All adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Like the girls sometimes get a bit carried away and get giddy with like when I had that session, and I do try and bully them into it as well. So I'm getting everyone's back up, causing shit in the camp. But like, who's having it today then? And all the girls getting the back up. I was like, you're getting lashed. Everyone's getting the back up with this.
Last week, right, so we obviously sit down and we write the programme, and me and Jack chat and go, right, we'll try and get these two people to do this section and we'll get this, but we try and make sure the direction for everyone is in the right direction. And it's coming, we're out on the gym floor, and we've obviously got the phone up there and the app with everyone's programme. And I've got Ella coming on to me going, Reggie's asked me should I do this session, can I drop it in? And I was like, alright, we can maybe join in part of it. And then Taylor will come round and go, oh, can I do Reggie's part of this session? I was like, wait a minute, what are you Reggie? Try to rope them in.
I feel like why this kind of situation like as a team really kind of blossoms is that everyone brings like a little piece of the pie to the table. Like you really bring that intensity, which, like, for example, say Martha was at the gym back home, her training partner might usually be a bit like, I'm not really kind of feeling this, whereas you're like, we're going here, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but like, I feel like you need the opposite end as well to keep you like grounded and a bit humble. Like Nettie calms her down, and I'm like timing that. Make sure there's, all the protein and then fucking green things and that. But like, you need that. You can't just be constant. And see, I'm still getting used to fucking missing me ball Miley.
Yeah.
And like, when me and him are in the gym, like, still no one will understand what we've been through to get ourselves riled up for sessions. Like, people, like, they couldn't handle it. Like, you literally, just like being around where they couldn't handle that kind of intensity. Like, how quick we get up for things and be like, right, this is what we're doing, and then literally, if you're not doing it, if you're not walking to that machine in the next minute, you're not doing it. So people get a bit shocked, and I've got to dial myself back a bit now because I've got time to do my warm-ups and things like that. What really is going to make the difference to make get the potential out of the session. So
I think that's where like what Nettie and Taylor, when you say everyone brings a piece, like they do spend the time before the sessions making sure that they're 100% ready to go into the session. So that kind of makes you probably take a little bit more time. Then I would say Ella's in a similar way, like similar to you in terms of like when it's a workout and it's when a workout starts. It's like she's just like young, nice talking girl, and then workout starts, and if she could be saying things when that workout starts, she'd be like, I'm fucking gonna send you. That's what she's saying, like that she's doing. So that kind of like brings the intensity from workout straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not malicious though. Like what we've got is like we respect like what efforts what we'll put into the workouts, and we know how hard we train. So everyone's respectful with like the times we do get, we wouldn't beat each other up. But like, at the start of workouts, we'll fucking call each other out, and like Steve tries it a few times this week.
I've been close.
But it's like it's good competitive. Like it's
not malicious, is it?
Nah, it's like it's what you need. It's like the perfect balance. What we've got like.
Questions we've probably gone through, and with that we've probably answered a few of them.
Just on the Miley subject, he's put, who done the most stairs on Percy? What does this even mean? What does this mean?
This is going back last year now when I was still at Graft NER, and my dad asked Mikey to come work for us, and he was like, make sure Mikey's not on his phone and make sure he's a grafter. And I was like, and I knew what Mikey was like on his phone. Like he'll just have it out fairly regular. And I said, that's quite square. I was like, look, Mikey, you need phones, mate. And I was like, you've got to put shifts in here. I was like, because my dad's got your boots and he's probably got trackers in the boots. So I was like, so make sure you're stepping boy. And we were in this massive job in Newcastle where I dropped like, it was about six or seven floors, and every floor had to come down, like just totally stripped back. And the only way that floor was coming down was by hand into the skip on the bottom floor. And we done like, on the first day at work, we done 30,000 steps, and we done like over 100 flights of stairs, and I swear we were absolutely wrecked. And then we had to go and train. It was some stupid like assault bike conditioning. We were absolutely wrecked. So we're like just off the adrenaline all day, just like, because the lads that you will work with, the Biff, we call him, like the manager, he doesn't give you 10 seconds, like doesn't give you 10 seconds. So you're like, you can't even sit down and rest because you're on edge that you're going to get caught resting. So there's no point even doing it because it wrecks you even more, so you may as well just be at work. So like the adrenaline all the day off, just being on edge of just being like, Biff's coming, like you're just sending things, and then gets you back up. He's like, we would do that back in the day. So me and Mike like, you couldn't touch this. I remember we had a hammer, and there was like loads of stud walls in, and they were like thermalite blocks, so they weren't heavy blocks, they were just the fakies, but all the walls had to come down, and like one of the lads was doing it the floor above. They were quite similar floors and similar layout, and the lad was still fucking pissing about. We were like dragging out. Me and Mikey went in there with a hammer, fucking dusted an up, and I was like, mate, we're going 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Every floor's down, and the lad was up. He just started. He's like, fucking hell, is them lads down there on price? And like Mikey was like, what's price mean? I was like, it means where you get job and knock, and you just work for, the quicker you get it done, the more money you get. He's like, because they haven't put the hammer down for an hour and they've dropped the whole floor. It's just like, the dust was settling, we were just sitting there like that, and it was just rubble half hour. It took like 3 days to clear up. We just absolutely hammered it, and I was like, fuck. That was the hardest day. That was the hardest, like, a couple of weeks or a few months of graft I've ever done. Like, I literally couldn't have done it unless Mikey was there. Like the mindset we had, and like the buzz we had off training, and to go there, like there was so many times we'd be like, we'd go to training, he's like, I'm not coming in tomorrow. I was like, tell your dad I'm quitting. And he'd be dead serious, and he'd be like, he's like, I'm wrecked, I can't do any more. Then I'd see him turn up these little and I was like, the boys back in. But like, we're only doing 3 days, because we're only doing 3 days a week at graft. My dad knew that. We may as well have literally been going in 5 days a week to get paid 5 days, because we're doing 5 days worth of graft in the 3 days, because he knew we only had one. So he's like ramming all these things into it. It was hard.
You know, so you know, before like you and Mikey were kind of working for your dad, were you like as intense like a person like before that? Do you know what I mean? It's like when you played rugby, were you like, do you know? Did you have that
like of the lads I've always been around, like I've always had the same kind of mates. So like if I'm like my mates from school, or my old mates from school, my rugby mates, like they all could just blend together because of the same type of people. So like I've always been around that type, but like it wasn't as bad when I seen him walk in the gym with his cut off and he's fucking shredded, and I was just sitting there with dusting kebabs and that, and I was like, he's just crumbled up in my gym with his top off looking like that, doing these weird things, like the ball over the top of his head, doing squats. I was like, have you seen them before? And he's doing them and he's running. I was like, who's this kid like?
So just kind of leading on from that, we've got a question here from Elvesy Trains, and he put, what was the final thing that made you decide to go full send on training full time? So what was the final thing? Yeah.
I was probably we made some like big sanctionals last year with I think Filthy 150 was the first. Oh, I entered the, what was it?
Yeah, Filthy 150 and then you
what was them qualifiers called again?
Yeah,
the
IOQs,
yeah.
So I remember I entered them, and I only entered them to push Josh, and I was doing alright with them, and I ended up qualifying for Miami and Filthy. And we'd done French Throwdown before that, and we were doing it, we'd qualify, but then we'd just be like middle of the pack always, and like I was enjoying it because it felt like a regional standard, like competing with like the big names in French Throwdown, you know what I mean? And then went to Filthy, and like the same weaknesses kept coming up, and just like you know how hard it is, like if you finish last on an event, to try and crawl back, not only to win a sanctional, but to be in top 10, you've got to be very well rounded. And I was just getting sick of being in that bubble of just middle of the pack, because it didn't show the hard work for like going to work 5 days a week and then doing all the horrible sessions on the night time. It didn't show off that kind of stuff. And then we went to Miami, and then I ended up winning the row event, and I remember I was on top we used to, and it was just like the potential is there with like just pure fitness, like to win an event just off pure fitness, like, and I'm not built for rowing, so the potential was there. And I had a chat with my dad. I was like, this is what I'm gonna do, and then he was like, right, you can have 2 days off of the week from work. You can do 3 days.
I think for my answer for that, I think we came here, didn't we? I think it was just before Christmas. We had a session here over the weekend. I know you'll say you weren't feeling well.
I literally, but I had Corona that weekend.
Jack Miller gave you and Taylor an absolute spanking. But then it was like, we realised, like, obviously you'd had a great off season, but we needed to get you like right sharp for CrossFit then, and same with Taylor. She had a great off season, like ironed out some weaknesses, but it's like we needed to take that step then, and then that was when he decided to come over for a month in January, and then during that month you just realised that this needs to be how I do this for like
because like how quick we were leveling up in that month. Like you normally get to the points where in your career when you get to this level, like you just like level out a bit, and you don't see the progress as quick. And obviously because I still had like holes in this, it was normally the high skill stuff, because when you just cherry pick them when you're not surrounded by this environment, because it's easy to turn things like that down. And like I was saying to Steve the other day, I was like, what were we talking about with the skill work? It was dumbbell overhead squats. It was like the dumbbell matrix, and it was like 5 kilo dumbbell overhead squats, and it was literally nearly break me to tears. Like I was fucking raging that I couldn't do these, and I was saying to Steve, I was like, I'd rather do fucking assault bike conditioning or rowing conditioning any day of the week than that session what you made us do on that day, because it absolutely broke me, because it's just so humbling, because the weight's not heavy and you're trying to get in them positions and you're fucking like that like incline bench out like that, squatting out like a bag of spanners, and I was just getting so frustrated with myself. And there were the sessions, like the skill stuff, where I felt like I adapted quite quick, like obviously being around you all the time, and the learning legless rope climbs, the rope climbs, just backing yourself, going up there rather than having to think about it, because like when the high heart rate and you'd like jump and like lock your feet in, right, next job, like doing it without having to think about it, just effortless. And we just like progressed them skills really quick. And I remember there was a session where it was at Steve's, and it was like power cleans and it was rope climbs. I think it was 10 down to 1. And the power cleans were quite heavy, but it was like the workout was made on rope climbs, how quick you could cycle. And it was just a shit session. Like I was wrecked off it, like mentally wrecked. And I remember I was like, I'm not fucking leaving this garden, right, until I fucking do 40 rope climbs. So everyone was like, that session was like, it put a damper on the session, because I was being a bit, I wasn't like moody and like taking out on people. I just go quiet when I get pissed off. And you can tell what I'm like straight away. Like everyone just think, Steve went for a little power nap because he buckled. Tay went to go and watch Netflix or something, and I was like, I'm fucking doing 40 rope climbs for time. I was like, I just did, I think I done it as an email or something, and that was the session I felt where it was just, it just changed something for me. Like
It's funny. It's funny actually because I text you you came into my bedroom. I was just sat there like, fucking hell, Reggie, give me 20 minutes here to myself. And you came in, breathing like chalk all over you, and you were like, and I was like, you alright? At the top of me like panting. He's like, yeah. Just on 20 minute email with rope climbs too, and I was like, why? I was like, God, because the rope climbs just in that workout just pissed me off. And like inside my head, I'm thinking, I was just like, if I could smile inside my head, and then I text you and I was like, it's clicked because obviously we were aware that you didn't like doing the skill practice and the movement stuff that ultimately is what holds you back as an athlete. But how much of your attitude towards those things do you think was because of your lifestyle from working through the day, and when then you do have the time to train and you're quite fatigued from working, do you just want to kind of use training as an outlet?
So you'd be like training back then was like the release from work and things like that, so obviously you're getting giddy at work all day and just excited and riled up, so the things is it becomes fucking white noise when you look at your programming and you see fucking 15 metre fucking warm up, 15 minutes of handstand holds and things like that. You just like scroll past that. What's that? Salt bite lush. We're banning that. Like that just becomes like you feel like you haven't got time for it because you're like, that's not going to get me fit. I'm going to do the WODs that get me fit, and I'm going to bang the strength. And then if I've got time, I've got energy. Anything else is a bonus. And like, we weren't using it as being cherry picking because we're bad at it, which it probably was. But like we just didn't feel we had the energy, and like. We just wanted to do WODs, and we just love fucking doing WODs and doing the strength stuff. Like even with the snatch, like it wasn't the strength that's like we got strong during lockdown when you fucking only let we do one WOD a week and we're fucking pulling the walls like. But it was more like the movement. Like Steve, I remember Steve was saying, he said, "You need to do this lunge matrix. This is going to get you a 120 snatch." And I was like, "Can't see it, mate." I was like, I can see when it comes to rowing or even strength, you get instant feedback of like you're getting better because there's fucking more weight going on the bar, or you see that split going down. When you're doing the fucking lunge matrix, you're doing the lunge matrix, so there's no feedback. Like your 120 snatches coming, it's like it's nearly there, and it just shows like you put in the work and you get addicted to keep doing it, and like you don't want to let it off, and you find different ways of doing it with a pipe the other day and just extra weight, like, and it just gets you just moving so much better, and you're in that bottom position, you're just so much more stable, and like it showed on the videos before when we would catch a clean and be like that fucking wobble, but we'd always have the strength to stand it, and then as soon as we dialed things like that in, the strength just went boom boom boom, like just another 20 kilos on everything else. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like the brute strength, it was just like your movement patterns, and when we had time to dial that in and lockdown, and obviously January we knocked it up again. Like you just level up so quick, and like I still feel like we haven't reached the full potential in everything I do, because I know I'm not perfect in my nutrition and other things like that, but like I still feel like I'm getting better like every week, every day. Like there's something like fucking I'm banging that now. Like it just feels really good where we're at the minute.
So just leading on from what you said there, another question from Book82. What element of being an athlete do you find most challenging to be consistent?
I remember Steve said, he's like, you need to act better than you are, than you already are, to get to that next level. And like, it's like doing the lunge matrix. It's like you can't see yourself. When I first started CrossFit, like use all like the big names, and you see BK, like all them kind of names. Like when we first started, we thought regionals were just like mere mortals. Like you need to be on a different breed, and you need to train 10 hours a day, sending fucking 50 WODs a day. And me and Mike, we were like, we always knew that goal was there to get to that level, but I truly didn't believe that we'd ever get there, because like obviously saying you have to do full time and all this, and it wasn't the case. It's like you just have to apply yourself, and like the time you have in the gym, you just got to apply yourself. But with just it's you need something back to prove that you're at that level. And I felt like we all would say, like when we knew we were going to qualify for semis.
Yeah.
But it was where we were going to qualify, like, and I've always had that bridge between where I was and the top boys. Like, there was a big difference, there's a big drop off. So like last year in the Open, there was like, I finished 4th, but 4th to 3rd was a fucking different ball game. There was like fucking 50 points in, there was like loads of points in it. Do you know what I mean? The top 3 lads were just in a different league. Yeah. And people get caught up in CrossFit and they don't understand that. Like, they'll think, but you finished 4th, but 4th to 3rd was a fucking different league. Like, you can't, but it's 4th to 3rd. Well, you don't understand. You know what I mean? So, like, bridging that gap, and I was just a bit more nervous as in, like, the work what we were doing, and I keep saying it. I just didn't want to let you down with how much effort you have applied into me. I knew we've grafted hard, and as a team, what we've done, but I was just like, I wanted it to show off, and then when the quarters got released, and then we're seeing where we're at in the Open with the CrossFit WODs and that, we knew we're going in the right direction, and then the quarter WODs got released, and I was like, right, we're fucking banging top 5. I was like, nothing less. I remember texting you straight, I was like, we're fucking finishing top 5, man.
You rung me up and you were they released him a little bit early, and I was like, I was bouncing after that. I was
like, get some sleep. I was like, I'm
not sleeping tonight.
I think going back to what you said there about acting better than what you are. So basically, like, what it means by that is like living a lifestyle of someone who's at a higher standard than what you currently are, so you can get to that standard as well. And I think with quite a lot of stuff that we do, like even when we write programs, is we'll go to the end point of like what's wanting to be achieved, and then work it back from the end point. And I think as an athlete, if you do that and you look at like the goal, if the goal is the end point of like getting to a certain standard, and let's just say like being at BK's level where he's been at the podium for like the last few years, if you look at what he's doing and how he lives and how he just like acts in his lifestyle to get to his point, you need to do as many of those things as you can implement to get there. I remember that's what happens first.
In England, rugby coach came in and it was on trials, and he sat us down and he said, right, I want you to write a goal down, and I want you to shoot for the stars, and in like the highest pinnacle what you can think of rugby is, and I want you to write it at the top. And we were like, and we were playing for Newcastle Academy at the time, we were just like, Newcastle first team, and he just started laughing. He was like, no, higher. And then we were like, all right, England first team. He's like, higher. And then he was like, the Lions, starting in the Lions squad against New Zealand, which is going to be the hardest tour. He's like, that's the fucking pinnacle in rugby. And he's like, you drop down from that. He's like, how did you get to there? And he's like, drop down from that. He's like, right, you need to be an England player, start on regular, playing well. How do you get down from that? He's like, you need to be playing for your club, playing well. And he broke it down to like, from your club rugby to fucking your schoolboy rugby, and like that big goal at the end feels like so fucking unachievable and so far away, but when you look at it and you look down the small goals, and he's like, you have your nutrition on point, you have your sleep on point, your training, everything on point, when all them little things fucking add up, like the goal doesn't become achievable, like it'd be just like you're just going up the level, do you know what I mean? And like it's the same in CrossFit. We had that chat after the camp in January, and you're like, what's your goals in CrossFit? And we like, fucking podium at the games. Like, it sounds like a long shot, and you'll get people who'll be like, you're never going to reach that, but like when you break it down and the small little goals, like ticking boxes, we always say, like ticking boxes on a reg, like even though we banged Europe, it means fucking out yet, you know what I mean? We've still got another job to do when it comes to semis, and like we know where we're at. We're not. I'm realistic, and
kept grounded on it.
Yeah, you got to keep yourself grounded with it. You can't get yourself run away. And like when we're saying about fitness in the UK, like we're not doing it for the gram. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not about that, and like because you lads aren't about that as well. Like it's easier for me to not get caught up in it and with the fucking limelight and get carried away and like all that shite. Like we're humble with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we use the analogy of the football league quite often, don't we? Of like, obviously you've got the conference, and then you've got League 2, you've got League 1, Championship, Premiership, and then like Champions League and World Cup and whatever. Is that you've got to work your way. If you want to play in the Premier League and you're in the conference, if you're competing at Rain Hill and you want to compete at the games, you've got to work your way up the leagues. Like you can't go from conference to Premier League. Like you've got to earn that promotion to get to the next stage, and that promotion might come after a year's hard work with a load of people around you, like it does in football, and you've got to do that year on year. Like, so when you look 5 years time and you have, I don't know if they have any football, I think Latics did it actually about 10 or 15 years ago. They went from the bottom of the football league to Premier League, and I think they even might have won the FA Cup or something. So it's like, but if you said to anyone who was in that club in the beginning, like 5 years time in the Premier League, like no chance. But like year on year, you just keep ticking the boxes, the results come, you keep putting the hard work in, and then you just see yourself working up there.
But like your coach back then said, initially before all that, you've got to have that dream. Like you've got to have, that ultimate level that you want to kind of work towards. Like the people that said, I want to play for Newcastle on a regular, that's putting a limit on yourself there. It's like, what is, how far can you take it? What is like the ultimate level that you really want to get to? And just on that note, Jay Groom asked, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I don't like getting caught up in things. Like, I know I want to be with my goals in 5 years, but like just in a lifestyle, like I feel like over the past few weeks, like turning full-time CrossFit and like getting some deals signed with being an athlete, like it's just opening up doors all over, and I don't know, God knows where I'll be in a year's time. And
I think it's a fine line, isn't it? Like, you want to have a goal, like, you know what your goal is. You said it before, you went podium at the games, and kind of like putting too much pressure and expectation on what you want to achieve. But as long as you can have that in the back of your mind, so you know that you're working towards. Like I kind of always found that if I planned too many competitions coming up, like I think 2015 games was an example, is that because I was starting to get people asking me to do this competition, that competition, because every competitor wants a games athlete to go to there. Every competition organiser wants a games athlete to go there, and then you start putting these things in the diary, and if you plan for like too many things, I think it just kind of takes you off. It kind of potentially takes you off the line that you want to go in. So it's just kind of like you say, we know what the next box is to tick. We just work on ticking that one, but we know what the boxes are down the line. But it's like putting the focus on them.
And I feel like you can't grasp the level of training we're at or what we'll compete at unless you've been there. Like unless you're willing to fucking put the work in. And you're willing to go there, and that dark place is like fucking. And it's not about the sessions where like the room condition sessions, because they don't bother me. It's the sessions like what really
like today,
like fuck you up, like the fucking like overhead squat stuff, like all the mobility stuff like that. They're the sessions like you've got to be willing to do every day. And some people take your hard work for granted. Like they'll be like, I've had so many messages, and it was Steve made a good point to me. He's like, if it's negative or positive, he's like, just brush it on. He's like, you can't get like worked up with it. You can't be, because most people don't know what they're on about. So when they say like, you're definitely going to the games this year, it'll be like, you don't know what it takes to go to the games. You can't, like the top 40 in the world, like the amount of hard work they do, you can't, like, you're just cutting their hard work short. Do you know what I mean? By just saying that, I was like, still got work to do, and it's like, I know they're supportive and things like that, but we know where we're at. Do you know what I mean? We're very grounded. And
I've got it. Yeah, and it's advice to any other athletes that are kind of going to be going to competitions and whatever level the competition's going to be at, you'll have your family members and your friends. Your family friends might not be too clued up about what CrossFit is or what competition is, and they feel like they're going to say something that's nice and is going to help you, but like if they don't fully understand what you're doing, what you're competing in, like that message can be taken on the other side like anyway. So it's always just to be like, if anyone does send you messages or says, oh, you're gonna win, or oh, this looks really hard, it's just kind of like you've just got to have the same attitude to whatever you read. Like read it, take it on, but just be like,
you don't have to be ignorant. You just like acknowledge it, but like don't take it on board. I mean, like my mum would be like, she doesn't understand like walking CrossFit, so when I explain her the season, like talking to that fucking brick wall. So then she comes up, she's like, no matter where I play, she'll be like, that's good love. Like, Mum, I won Europe, oh that's nice love. Like, Mum, I came last in Europe, oh that's nice love. And I'm like,
She just ultimately wants the best for you, doesn't she? So like, you know, it's
What's good about that though, like with your mum, is that like in terms of no matter what happens at a competition, you know that you're going to go home and your mum's going to speak to you like she's spoken to you for the last 20 years. Like my thing was always Miko, really, the dog, was that no matter if I went and qualified for the games or missed out on qualification for the games, it's like I'm going to go home and Miko's going to get walked the next day. And he doesn't care how sore I am, how hungover I am, like whatever. He wants to go around that field. No matter what happens at that competition or the result, like I wake up the next day and the same people that I'm around, same cats, dogs, whatever, like life's just back. It's just normal.
It's just that nice reminder, isn't it, that life is still going on, like everything else. Other stuff.
I reckon he knew me, Miko, but it was just like, I'm going to peg you down. If half the game's in there, get you
big shit as well.
I reckon we got 1 minute left. Is there any last questions?
There's plenty more, but I feel like we'll probably end up chatting for another 10 minutes, so I feel like let's...
And we've got some training.
We've got some training to do. Everyone's outside.
It's fucking knock, honestly. I feel like everyone's actually not sitting down here.
That's Reggie stood up.
Seems like lying down there, you know what I mean?
Right.